Take us from 2012 up to the present day.
Oh, I can't believe that it's the last 10 years. I can't believe we're thinking that today is Epcot's 40th.
Yeah.
10 years ago, there was a special 30th edition of Illuminations, Reflections of Earth.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering whether Disney had done that a lot. Anytime where it was Christmas or New Year, there'd be additional sort of fireworks or just announcements of different things. But also in 2012, something that we saw on our first trip, and we didn't have a clue what it was, and it was Agent P's World Showcase Adventure.
Wow.
Oh.
Which was amazing.
Oh, now we're talking.
Yeah.
Here we go.
We had no idea what it was. No idea who Agent P was.
Yeah.
I know.
Absolutely amazing.
And there was one before that, though, wasn't there?
It was Kim Possible.
Kim Possible before that,
Yeah.
And
Let's
Kim
face
Possible was excellent. It was excellent
It was really
to actually
good.
go and do. Yeah.
But
And it's that hands-on interaction that I think
find out,
it's not
be
just
curious.
it's not just little kids. It's big kids want to have a go out when they go to the parks as well. It was such
Agent
brilliant
P,
fun.
every
Brilliant fun.
time.
Agent P.
Oh,
that was-
yeah.
so great.
Has anyone got a theme tune stuck in their head already?
Oh yeah, I'm singing it. I can hear it.
Yeah.
And of course, what you could do is hang around other people who were doing it and watch what happened when they sort of
It
managed
was
to find
brilliant.
things. Yeah.
It was superb.
It just
Really
adds something
was.
different to the experience of, like I said, of being in the theme park.
Yeah.
It's just something
Yeah.
that is so different, and it makes World Showcase because it is for the food booths and there's lots of things happening, but it's not something that's for everyone's age. But that just bridges the gap of something else that everyone can be involved with.
Just something about it. It's a really fascinating way because actually Kim Possible was actually a very, very good game to play, but very few people from the UK had actually picked up on Kim Possible. They updated that quite quickly, and when it became Agent P, because of certainly from experience of the age of my kids, it became part and parcel of World Showcase became such a smaller place for them. Because they go and take on all of these trials and stuff, and you'd even be aware. You go to the Germany pavilion, and you'd end up be stood there, and people would just wait for that just a little moment as it's just sort of peeking up over the top.
Yeah.
Can you get the photo of a Perry sticking?
Yeah, it's just looking for the platypus just appearing. I loved it. It was. And each of the bits that you went, the missions that you were sent on were so different and so much in sending kids into the back of each of those pavilions.
Yeah.
And I think that again is something which I think possibly is one of the things where I think for my children has made for their memories and their experiences of Epcot to be much more enriched, simply because when I saw this as a game, once they finished the game, it was like, oh, there's such and such a characters to see, or there's something else to see at the back of that pavilion. Can we go and have another look? And suddenly you're struck with the kids are dragging the adults into these pavilions rather than them just disappearing around World Showcase. It was a very, very clever thing, and I think again even now I think they need that interactive thing. And I know that they had the bit when it went from the teleporter and you get to put it back in the post box and stuff, and it went onto mobile phone. I'd still like to see them adapt that technology further because
I think they do something, and I think it's because I know they're doing Galaxy's Edge with the data pad on your phone, and that, and I know that they've been using the Disney Play app, so the technology's there. When you think of how much it is, it's how they integrate it, and it can be done. So they need to keep it simple. And with
Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey.
Maybe they could do something where you could choose. So if you preferred a particular version, you could have that. Because I know they talked about having a DuckTales version.
Yeah.
What is it about just having sort of things with songs that get stuck in your head?
Yeah.
But also in 2012, I think we touched on this earlier with Test Track reopening with the Chevrolet sponsorship. And how competitive that we all are and making ugly cars.
Absolutely.
It's interesting. I find it really interesting that it's
cars.
It's basically the same ride mechanism as Disneyland's Cars ride, but that is such a different ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's amazing what you can do with basically the same ride mechanism and the same layout.
Yeah.
Last time I went on Test Track, it was the last time I went to Test Track. Yes, it was. It was late.
Mm.
We'd gone in for the party, not for the food and wine party, because we got tickets for that. And they closed the front half and I just missed it. So the CM took me round to the side, in through a cast member side door, and let me join the last of the very last party.
Oh, wow.
And that was cool.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Nice little bit of pixie dust at the end of the day. But
Yeah.
Oh, too right.
yeah, there's so much stuff that's happened this decade, and I know it was our first ever trip to Walt Disney World. So our first trip to Epcot, and like we said earlier, it took quite a few times at Epcot to understand what it was about. I'm still not sure whether at the minute we still know exactly what it is with the amount of changes that are going on.
It's a transformation period at the moment.
It's gone from, especially all about construction, where it's been like sort of the world of walls.
Yeah.
They were very pretty walls.
Yeah.
Nicely painted.
There's been a lot of closures and a lot of refurbishments of this past decade, from Maelstrom closing with Frozen replacing it. So if you had to choose one, would you be Maelstrom or Frozen?
I haven't done Frozen yet, so I can't.
No.
I never did Maelstrom.
Maelstrom was there on our first visit, and by the second visit, it was closed altogether.
I have done both Maelstrom and Frozen attraction. I don't know which I'd choose. I'm struggling. There was something unique about the oil rig.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
Over the falls and back you go, and you've not been the first, you won't be the last. All of that stuff that sticks in my mind. Whereas the Frozen attraction maybe isn't quite so memorable, but that might, you know, it's not quite so unique. Maybe.
I think it's memorable for a few people, and that's probably because they were in that 5-hour queue.
Yeah, maybe so.
On opening day, and I remember when that opened, and it was like the queue went into the back of China.
Yeah.
It's apparently Epcot employees were giving out ice cream and water bottles to try and cool them down.
Yeah.
Not an attraction I rush to, and if I miss it, I'm not that bothered.
Yeah.
Did anybody actually do the film at the end of Norway?
Once. Once, and that was it. And it was like, right, kids, come on, quick, we'll get through before the
you know what? I remember Lloyd saying previously, it was like that mad dash when you got off the boat. You've got to get through the. You've got to get through the cinema screen before the film started, because otherwise you were stuck for like 15 minutes. I remember watching it. Yeah.
I would also add, I actually think one of the first proper live streams I think I ever picked up on was when it was Maelstrom's closing.
Right.
And actually seeing, and it was a group of cast members who were the last ones to ride it, and they actually filmed the closing of the doors of the ride.
Wow.
And you're only seeing something, and again, it again shows just how much this has all moved on as regarding streaming of theme parks, etc. But it was such a beautiful time, and I actually felt at the time I hated to see Maelstrom go away. I really did. I thought it was one of those rides that you could always walk on, and I think that was the primary issue with it. To come back and to reimagine it as Frozen was perhaps another sign as to where Epcot needed to go. And I think that, again, like you said before, Claire, it's about taking that risk and trying something completely different. They alienated all of the proper big Epcot fans who would like to have seen Maelstrom stay forever, trying to put an IP into a park which had previously struck itself as being unique. They did not want IPs in the park to the extent that Figment was perhaps Epcot's only IP, and that was purely from their own making.
Three Caballeros.
Yeah, but it's a bit different.
Kind of.
It's like, but it's not
And
that whole...
Timon and Pumbaa, although that was the Timon and
was just
Pumbaa
in
film.
the
Was,
film.
was
But they're not really. They're not really engaged in that, and I think once they saw what was happening with Frozen, you then suddenly become aware that this is the next step on for the park, and I think that's where what we're seeing now. And I know Ben had mentioned about, so we've mentioned in the past about the 2019 D23 before lockdowns happened and changed all of that plan, but. The whole idea was to introduce a lot more, and that's what Moana a bit.
Yeah.
It will evolve. Yeah, Well, I don't think we'll ever see that, Peter. Unfortunately, that would be quite exciting. But a real change, and as much as I'd love to see Maelstrom, I think Frozen just about. I think more for getting numbers through the doors. I think that's where the Frozen ride actually comes into its own. And again,
I think Disney was stuck because Frozen was so popular, and the 6-7 hour queues just to the meet and greet in Magic Kingdom, it was crazy. They needed to find a space where they could fit, and I think that was just the perfect fit for at the time, and it's meant that they've been able to develop some great animatronics. And use the technology which now we see in other parks in some
Spot.
So again, it's
the
trial it out. It's that try it out, see what we can do with it. Mentality.
Talking of the Norway Pavilion, did anybody do Arcus?
Akashus, yes,
Arcus, yes.
Was
it good?
It's superb.
It's really good.
Absolutely.
Is it better than Cinderella's Royal Table?
I haven't done Cinderella's Royal Table because it's stupidly priced.
Yeah, okay.
You need a remortgage for Cinderella's Table.
As a family, we really enjoyed Akashus both times. And for me, when we went, I guess it must have been like 2017, it must be 2017. I think the Millie would have been 6, 5. So princesses were like important at that point. And so for us, we went to Epcot on our second day, and we did Akashus for lunch, and found out princess meet and greet lunchtime, day 2, and that meant she'd met Belle, Ariel, Jasmine, Aurora, and Cinderella. Snow White done. So we didn't ever have to stand in a queue to meet them again for the rest of the 2 weeks. It was worth every single penny. Just to do that. The food, actually, for me, is outstanding. I think they do something really unique. They don't shy away from the fact that a smorgasbord may not be for everyone. They don't try and sanitize it to make it more appealing. And I think that's one of the benefits of the Food in World Showcase sometimes, that it's a nod to, but actually the food at Akashus, it is, herring and roll mops and, all of mackerel and salmon and, amazing meatballs and stuff. It is truly Scandinavian food, and that's fantastic. It's not for everyone, though.
Many different herring. Lovely.
How many different ways can you create a herring?
And it's still one that hasn't reopened since COVID.
No, it's not real.
No.
Sad.
It's a shame.
Building as well inside, it's beautiful.
Yes.
I don't think it would be long, because they've only just recently announced that Crystal Palace, Winnie the Pooh has returned from breakfast.
Yeah.
So things are getting back to normal, hopefully.
I think as well, Ben, I think one of the important things was, with the cast member exchange program, and that pavilion in particular, the servers there were Norwegian, and you actually... When you asked a question about what the food involved, they were able to give you like a regionalisation part of as to the story behind the food and the fishing history of the country, and that's what you need. You need that sort of information coming back to you. It's not about sort of the just sort of going for a burger and chips or whatever. You want that experience out of a theme park, and that's what I think consistently. I think Epcot has done. And it becomes quite a unique part of you. Yeah. The food part in particular, irrespective of food and wine, I still feel that the restaurants within the park itself have evolved and become much better.
Yeah.
Also, I think that's another difference in recent years, in that the various festivals have gone from being something that happens occasionally for however many weeks to being almost a permanent thing.
But that to me feels like
6 weeks out of
Yeah.
the year.
I think whether it's Festival Holidays, whether it's Flower and Garden, Food and Wine, or the most recent one of Festival of the Arts, which opened in 2017, there's now something for. We've done Festival of the Arts, Flower and Garden, and Food and Wine.
Yeah, so we've done everything but Festival of the Holidays.
Yeah, and they're all the same, but they've got, as in like you've got the same sort of layout, but there's so much different at each one that I can pick one over the other. The only thing that
Festival
sort of
of the
Sways
Arts.
me is Festival of the Arts because of the Disney on Broadway. But that is the bit that just.
And actually, the food looks really. It tastes perfectly fine, perfectly okay at Festival of the Arts, but it sometimes it is more a feast for the eyes rather than the stomach.
Yeah.
It's all very pretty, the food.
But yeah, no.
Yes.
But John, you mentioned 2019. It was a year that we had so much hope and so much for Epcot that got announced at D23 from, like we said earlier about Future World. The change is going to be World Discovery, Celebration and Nature. And then we had the final ever Illuminations.
Yeah.
Leading straight into Epcot Forever, which we thought was only going to be a one-off for a year until Harmonious, and then it come back in 2021.
There's some fireworks left over.
Yeah. In leading to everyone's favourite show, Harmonious.
Going away.
Don't make me
I haven't seen it yet.
Haven't seen it yet.
Haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So
Stargate Tacos.
When you do set fire to it, guys. When you see it, get rid. That's it.
And of course, the other thing that came along last year was Ratatouille.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the extension of the France pavilion, so that now you can go for a quick crep in France if you wish.
Yeah, that area is really pretty.
Yeah. And especially you've got with Mr. Transportation there
very nice.
of Skyliner being that part of the park.
Yeah.
So it's another place for you to get to and also get some resorts that around the area. And that just adds to that sort of ambience of the park.
do we know if the fountain is the same as in Paris, i.e.
It's not.
Back area, the new bit in France doesn't look anything like the area in Paris. And the fountain is, I know. No, it's not the same.
Okay. In Paris, you have little remes around the bottom, and if you go fast, it's a zoetrope.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Do
not
they
the
have
same.
that in Paris?
No.
Okay,
It's a
cool.
completely
And
different design fountain.
I don't think they have the hidden remies in the railings either.
Yeah, they do.
Do they?
Yeah, they do.
Okay. Well, I'll have to look out for those.
But you can look when you're there.
Yeah. And then, of course, Guardians of the Galaxy came along.
Yes.
And
Cosmic.
Ride
seems
on
to be
property.
everybody's favourite ride.
I would put that up. Yeah, it is currently Walt Disney World's best attraction.
Not just because it's the newest.
No. From my perspective, I love Rise of the Resistance, but that was more the technology of going what we're taking from Ratatouille to the story of Star Wars and something that is very different. But I think it's an attraction I got on, enjoyed the entire queue, and it wasn't just that there's nods to Walt. There's so much of like veggie, fruit all throughout the queue. There's so many nods to Epcot, and it reminds me of standing at World Showcase the first time we watched Epcot Forever, and you hear Walt's voice and then Figment, and then it is just the attraction is definitely Epcot.
Yeah.
So it feels like you're walking through
and that's what excites me for the future, Ben, because actually instead of being embarrassed about the past 40 years, I think Epcot itself is really proud of everything that's gone before. They've, even veggie, fruit. You've got to acknowledge that the
It's
past.
awesome.
It is awesome, but instead of it being something that's consigned to a box somewhere, they're still prepared to say, this is what we were.
Yeah.
And we're really proud of it, because actually that's the whole point. I think that's the whole point of what Epcot is about. I think it's why we all love the park, because we've all got different memories from the very first time we went. You've all got very special memories of things that have gone away. You've also got the memories of of what has changed that you don't agree with, but also we've seen a park that's become a much more established whole day and more of everybody's holiday, because you can't just dip in and do it like I said at the very start of the show. My family were able to do all of that dead easy, according to them. We could go back in. I could spend a week in Epcot, and I think Ben, you alluded to it there about sort of the resorts that are attached to the International Gateway, and also the accessibility on the Skyliner. To actually be able to just dip in and out of Epcot becomes such a pleasant way of just enhancing your holiday. And which I think we said on a Wednesday show a couple of weeks ago, was just that whole thing about being able to just walk into a park from your hotel, just absorb a little bit, walk back. It's just it's amazing, and I don't know. It's my favourite park. I know I've said this before already on this show, but
I know
it's the most wonderful place.
Yeah, and I know we've all said what we like about Illuminations and how some of us like it, some of us maybe not so much. And I think Epcot Forever sums up Epcot of what
I'd agree.
Disney were at that right point in 2019, that they knew what they had lined up in D23, all the announcements, and Epcot Forever just summed up, here is what everything's past, and now we're going into a whole new world. And obviously they didn't know what was going to happen 6 months later.
It made you glad for the past and what had come before, but excited for what was going to come next.
And if Disney can carry on delivering attractions like Guardians, if they can improve Harmonious to just have the same heart as what Epcot Forever and Illuminations has had before, that's what I think Harmonious is missing. And we know that it is going away in one form or another.
I want some more detail about that, Ben.
We want to make sure it's gone. But is it going to be just, I don't know, are they going to just class Harmonious as it was Epcot's fireworks show for the 50th anniversary for Walt Disney World, or are they just going to have something special for the 41st or Disney's 100th?
So it's an amazing park, and we've barely touched on the restaurants, both quick service and table service. We've barely touched on. I know we've barely touched on the merch.
Yes.
I mean, I still shed tears for Mouse Gear because Mouse Gear became our old reliable. Anything we wanted, you could guarantee you'd find it in Mouse Gear.
You will love creations.
Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't
Mostly
smell.
because they managed to get rid of the smell.
Yes.
Like Mouse Gear, thank goodness.
And I am looking forward to checking out all the new merch.
Well,
so
if Disney say that they have announced a sneak peek of all of the merchandise that's going to be available for the 40th.
Today as in today's day of recording.
Yes.
Which
so by the time you hear this, you will be able to.
It's either that or it will be sold out probably by the time you
it'll be out. So we'll send anyone who's in the park today. We'll send you a shopping list.
Grab it.
There is no mention of a popcorn bucket, so
not yet.
That's unusual.
Not yet, anyway.
No.
There'll be Figment with a big 40 on his head or something, just to recreate the wand of the 2001.
Spaceship Earth popcorn bucket with a wand on the side.
Hey, now we're talking.
Hey, they do it in Tokyo.
Yeah, they would do it in Tokyo. Yeah. So I think it is time to wish a happy 40th birthday to Epcot. Let's raise a toast and, of course, some cake to a park like no other. Happy birthday, Epcot.
Happy birthday, Epcot.
Happy birthday, Epcot.
Happy birthday, Epcot.
Here's to another 40 years.
And if anyone gets the reference from Guardians of the Galaxy, cake toast is the best.
So, what about you guys who are watching, listening? Are you an Epcot fan? Are you an Epcoter? An Epcotian? Citizen of Epcot?
Epcotian.
Epcotian. We would love you to share your memories of the last 40 years. Share them with us. Drop us a message to waffleon@gbmickeywaffle.com or share some photos in the Wafflers Arms. Talk about your memories of your first trip.
All the photos of you when you've gone around World Showcase trying on the hats.
Yeah.
Who hasn't done that?
Oh, wow.
The sombrero on the small child. It's going to happen.
It's got to happen.
Rubbing the lamps in Morocco.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon.
Doing a bit of belly dancing.
Okay.
Peter's got all Aladdin on us.
Yeah. So do share with us your memories as well. And I don't know about you, but I can't wait for our next visit there. So I think with that, there is only one thing to say.
Waffle on.
Waffle on.
Waffle on.